Good morning, free enterprise community, and I suppose if we are going to be having a team from time zones are us, I should also go ahead and include good afternoon and good evening. My name is John Burkhead. I am here today with staple of the community, Sorbius, as we are going to bring you a Potion Party Week 2 matchup between PeasantsOMFG and Boney. Sorbs, how you doing, man?
I'm awake, I suppose.
That makes fun of us. I might have been a little bit late to go ahead and hop into the stream, stressing all out. How you feeling about this matchup?
It's going to be a good race today, John.
It absolutely is. I've watched a lot of Boney. He does a lot of Trackmania. But he is a very versatile runner. He doesn't do a ton of free enterprise unless it's kind of tourney season, but he very quickly picks it up and gets right back into it. And he's a delightful runner, very good. Peasants has been around for a while. Don't be fooled by the name. He is no peasant. He is not royalty, but certainly has a lot of ability. Had a great first week. Came up a little bit short, but demonstrated a tremendous amount of ability. And I think we're going to have quite a matchup between these two.
Yeah, I agree. I've caught some of Boney's streams of Free Enterprise specifically. I've actually been practicing a little bit with Peasants, so I'm familiar with his skill level. So this should be a good match.
It absolutely should. So Team Wombat Milk, which can't believe that name wasn't already taken, was 1-0. So they're looking to go ahead and kind of continue their stretch going through. Also, I'm seeing a Wombat emote from the one and only J-Mac Librarian, which is adorable. So we're all in on the Wombat. Time zones came up a little bit short. 0-1 last week. They have some very, very good runners. Peasants again ran really well. Just came up a little bit short on a one of those streams where we had 4 people at once. And Boney was off last week, so he is busting into his potion party tonight. So I'm very excited to see how they do. Looks like we have a Rydia start.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite heroes and favorite characters in this flag set. With the shop settings being wild, the Bahamut Orb is guaranteed to be in some item shops somewhere. You just got to find it.
Correct. So you pointed out the shop setting that we have here. For those of you that might be turning into this for the first time, this is very different from what we are used to. Every treasure chest is money. Shops are wild. There is no Zeromus fight. So, with certain characters, you're looking for certain things, and while casting Blarg against Zeromus can lead to problems, casting Blarg against literally everything else can lead to fun and excitement. Speaking of fun and excitement, here we go.
Let's see who Rydia's partner in crime is going to be with the beginning of the seed. Oh, it's another Black Mage. Call him another strong character in this flag set. Quake is pretty good.
Yeah, it's not too shabby. Only a Protect Ring, so we don't have any immediate progression. But these are both characters that are wanting to go ahead and have some levels. As we're going to get set up here, seeing the guards there in the Bygone spot has reminded me to remind all of you that free bosses are off. While seeing what could potentially be the Baron guards, might be like, ain't no thing. But the Baron guards in, Cave Bahamut, and it is very much a thing, because with free bosses being off, you can't mute them, you can't stop them. So some of these bosses that we're used to not being so bad are actually quite brutal.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like both of our players are going directly to Eblan Castle to pick up some loot.
Absolutely. So I expect to be seeing some exiting out from when they find their traps. Speaking of, the item pool is a little bit different from what we're used to. We don't have any K Summon. We don't have any K Moon. We do have K Main, of course, and we have K Trap. So that means that, for example, the chest that Peasants just reset out of, at some point, both our runners will likely be going back there, because that could have our Magma Key, our Darkness Crystal, maybe our Luca Key, or a Tower Key, or our Pan, which are soft required for us to go ahead and complete this seed. So there's a lot of money to be had here in Eblan Castle, which will bankroll the shopping spree as they're looking for things for our runners. But they'll also be taking note of where these traps are, because they'll definitely be back.
Yeah, absolutely. This is one of the things that usually you want to get done before you go underground, both to have some levels to do things underground, and also to make sure you're not missing out on, a tower key or a pan that will give you something to do while you're downstairs.
Absolutely. It's there's the meta of runners getting started hasn't really been established yet. With more traditional flag sets, there's been a good amount of time coming through here. And what makes this flag set particularly interesting is that it doesn't exist. There isn't the standard, look at our top runners and this is what they do. And as this potion party continues, this week and for the next two, I think you're starting to go ahead and see certain strategies on how to find your money right away. And this is one of the ones that has come through here, because as you're seeing some of these dollar figures come through here, there's a lot to be had. I mean, there's a 65,000 right there,
yeah.
right? So that's probably let's see, 112. What is that? A massa or
White Spear?
White Spear. That's the other thing. These chest values are half, but basically, if you were to sell an item, you'd get half of what it's worth. So we are all rapidly learning. Like, we see $66 or $33,000 in the chest. Oh, it might be a ninja sword, right? Or if we're seeing, we're learning that a crystal sword costs 2,015, or that Muhammad costs 85. We are very much learning how much these things cost. So both of our runners choosing to get quite a bit of money from here. So no early divergence. So it'll be interesting to see if the shopping diverges. If we go to, Baron to see what characters we have. If we go to Hobbs, or if we're going to go ahead and try to go ahead and just get some good gear and off we go.
Yeah, they have plenty of money. There are two 65k chests in Eblan, along with most of them being 10k or more. So we are loaded.
We are.
Our peasants showing us first which shops we're going to. Looks like Troya.
Well, with Blarg on the table, Troy does have 2 item shops available to us, which is 2 opportunities for Blarg. He won't have the MP to cast it just yet, as she starts with only 10.
Hey,
there it
paid
is.
off immediately.
Yep, that's huge. That is enormous. So the next thing that we need are levels. So I would be very surprised if we don't head into Hobbs sooner rather than later. That might not be enough. But it'll get there soon. Boney finding a Dragon Whip. Not picking it up, I believe. But that could be good for some agility manipulation. It is a sea hero, so we have a Rydia hero. We might want to speed her up at some point. Or even if, we also find a heroine robe. Let Rydia hit things is a staple of this community sometimes.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It's interesting Boney didn't pick that up, but he's probably holding off the Hamid too. But that would be an interesting divergent route to the start of the seed. With peasants blarging and Boney hitting things, but it looks like we passed on that.
Yeah, speaking of that heroine robe, so I'm going to assume that little delay is, when you have the heroine robe on, you lose a little. Man, they're finding their stuff in these shops. My goodness, you lose the effectiveness of your spells. But with the overworld, I mean, Blarg is so strong that for the early checks, the heroine robe penalty, if it's against a moon boss, okay, maybe we have something to talk about. But for some of these early bosses, it's really not an issue, especially if you can go ahead and kind of pick up the wisdom loss with, let's say, a Stardust Rod or a TR or something along those lines. So there was a little hesitation, but I firmly believe that heroine robe pickup was the right decision.
Yeah, I absolutely would have bought that heroine robe. It's minus 10 to your wisdom, which is not nothing, but after a few levels, you're not missing out on a whole lot, and you'll still do 1,800, 2,000 damage with that Bahamut, which is enough to clear most things on the overworld.
Absolutely. So we are on distinct 7. That means that there are only 7 characters available to us in the seed. Fu is automatically excluded, and we caught a look at an edge in the Kaipo bed. So should we find a Sand Ruby, then that's definitely access. Or we will be, while we don't have dupes in the party, so we can't have a second Palom or 2 edges or whatever, Edge might be available elsewhere. So maybe it's in Baron Inn. Maybe Peasants is about to go ahead and find him elsewhere. But that's a character that can get going right away. So be very interested to see who the character is right here on Hobbs.
Yeah, we're about to find out. Let's see here. It is Kane.
So
we did see Avengers for sale in some shop.
We did.
So this Kane definitely has some legs.
Absolutely. And Elements is actually a pretty good boss to find here early. Even the tier 1 spells can do quite a bit. There's about 1100 or so HP here. The only downside is that the XP is split, which is unfortunate. 43 damage when you have 42. That's so mean. So Kane's a good pickup. There's an advantage of maybe picking up the equipment early too, because if you knew that you had Kane there, you can go ahead and maybe swap something in that you found there. Also, I think we saw a Dwarf Axe for sale elsewhere, and that could have backroad him right away too. I found that there are just certain items that when I see them, I buy them, even if I'm not going to go ahead and pick them up. For example, Peasants, I think, bought Arty Arrows, right? You see those Arty Arrows? I'm probably going to go ahead and pick it up and go. If I see a Dwarf Axe, I'm probably going to pick it up so I don't have to go ahead and double back. An Avenger, it's 150,000. I'm probably not going to pick that up right away. But there are certain things that I have found I just pick up just in case. But then again, when I run into the inventory boss, so maybe that's not necessarily the best strat.
I mean, I agree. Like, buying an Avenger on spec is that's a tough sell for me. But buying something like Dwarf Axe or Glass Hats are always good because everyone can use them. Basically, the more characters that can use an item, the more likely you're going to convince me to pick it up on spec early.
Yeah, that makes sense. Peasant's making a really nice adjustment here through on the Arty Samurai combination on Rydia, and that got a little bit of extra damage, which got us out of the Ruby phase. I do believe that we are well on our way to finishing this Elements fight as soon as Kane comes down, which means that Peasants will have 3 characters, one of which can do damage right away, and apparently dropped down the battle speed as well. So really good adjustments. That's a solid veteran move right there. We're rock and rolling. Also, I do believe that we saw a Porum in Baron Inn. White mages are huge on this flag set. Because again, when the bosses that you're worried about are not Zeromus, and they are, I'm going to say, just, gross bosses on the moon and whatnot, things like Blink and things like Berserk have such tremendous value, especially Blink. So I don't think Twin is going to necessarily have a ton of value, especially when you have a soon-to-be Blarging or Leviathaning hero, but that Porum is probably going to get picked up sooner rather than later.
Yeah, notably, as far as white mages, J items are not available in shops. So illusions, Bacchus wines, any of the damaging items, even Star Veils, you can't buy any. So having white mages that have access to the spells that do those effects is, as you said, huge. Very, very important.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. Should we find that edge though? Should we find a Sand Ruby? Or find him elsewhere, as Peasants is going to show us who is over in Full Defense. We do start with the Trap Kit, which is great because we have that Assassin Dagger, which can go ahead and get Swoon procs. It also comes with a couple of Sirens, where Edge can go ahead and steal Silk Webs or Bacchus Wines if used at an appropriate spot. Speaking of an appropriate spot, if you're going to find DKC, we were talking earlier about gross, not free bosses. This is I understand that Peasants might be a little bit low leveled at the moment for this fight, and he is going to reset out. But I would rather find DKC there than say, I don't know, Cave Bahamut.
Yeah, definitely. DKC is a boss with no free bosses on that can be, for most intents and purposes, unbeatable in some spots, depending on your party setup. I mean, with the Rydia hero, she's not that fast. You could possibly be able to heal through it, but it's tough to get enough turns, especially against the Ashura spot or the Leviathan spot, because those spots are so fast.
Yeah, it's
Also, notably, no free bosses, DKC cannot gate your underground access. So peasants may know that his magma key can't be in Fabul. He's just not going to waste his time trying to get through that fight.
That's an excellent point. Force Magma is on. So while I do believe we had one seed where D-Mist was at the Ruby spot, which had the magma key.
I've seen it.
Yeah. So while some creative logical measures do exist where a hook route might be basically required, 99.9% of the time, you're going to go ahead and find that your magma key is going to be our way underground because we do have Force Magma.
Yeah, we're about to find out what's in the Antlion Cave from Boney.
Yeah, it looks like we have a Plague, and that Heroine Robe is paying dividends. Plague is one of those bosses that can be very, very, very rude. But this is what I'm saying about Boney. Really good, resourceful runner, right? Not a lot of DPS with these characters without their spells. But you have a Heroine Robe, Archer, and the Archer provides extra damage against a floating enemy. When you only have 2 people against Plague, that can be really tough, and he handled it beautifully. A bit of a zonk when it's only a defense sword, but that is, what, 49,000 to sell?
It is, and I believe Boney bounced off of Hobbs and left, so I think is aware of that cane, and might be thinking he doesn't have to spend that money to purchase a weapon for Kane now.
Very true. Knowledge is power. The more you know.
We'll probably see peasants reset out of that defense sword in a minute here. So I think he has remembered where adventures are and is probably going to buy one. But we'll see.
Speaking of free items, let's see what our summon is on Hobbs. And I believe that's Mage, which doesn't have a ton of utility. Peasants, I'm going to assume, also picked up a Heroine Robe because that was a one-shot on that Plague. So we'll see what he does there. Honestly, I would probably walk this out. I would.
It is a good chunk of change, as you said.
It is. If you find a Crystal Ring or something along those lines, or Stardust Rod is 60k. Or if you have the knowledge of where that Avenger is, that's a third of your Avenger money. So it's as we are all trying to kind of figure out the meta. I think some of our truly top runners. That's a possum chest. I think some of our very top runners are kind of figuring out like what the dollar figure is based off of your party. I haven't figured that out yet. I just know that I find myself shocked that sometimes I'm still hunting for cash, even though you'll go into Tower and you'll get more money, or you'll go into the Fey March and you'll get more money, and you do Eblan and you go ahead and get more money. It's always nice. It's always nice to have just that little bit of backup, a little bit of extra.
Yeah, and especially later in the seed, you'll get you might find items like crystal rings and glass hats that you want to buy for your entire party. Those things are not cheap.
They are not. 45,000 for glass hats and 50 for the crystal rings. All right, so radio with a little matricide here, but we'll do what we have to do. And that is a very manageable Octomam in the second spot. Spot
maybe not coming in this injured, but
well, I mean, this spot does hit, even if I think that really is, well, maybe with the Heroine Robe you wouldn't get one shot necessarily, but it's already slow. It's going to get even slower as the tentacles go down, and you might be playing a little bit of life pot roulette here, but I don't see this being a problem at all. Oh, yeah, that Heroine Robe doing work.
Yeah, Octomam's still slapping though.
Yeah, with so many options. Back one, front one, side one. I don't know. How does Octomam do core work? It's very I don't know. I have a lot of questions.
How is it swimming through the floor, etc.?
maybe he's playing Tears of the Kingdom, and he's got that thing that can come through the floor. I cannot wait for that game. But we're gonna talk about this game. Free power shirt. That's not so bad. And what I really love about Peasants doing this before doing Eblan is you have 3 characters now that really benefit from levels. Porum wants Blink and Berserk, Quake and Virus on Palom, and MP for Rydia to go ahead and Blarg. And while you brought up that there are no J items in shops, we do have 3 hourglasses, and while free bosses are off, those hourglasses will absolutely go ahead and work in Eblan. And I do believe that's exactly where we're headed. So once you get through these traps, you can probably save 1 hourglass for warriors or hair dryers or something like that. You're going to get some solid levels on everybody, and this party is going to be good to go. Because you're going to have everything you need to just steamroll through the bosses.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Boney got through that DKC using a lot of run buffering and that fast Rydia to just really not eat a lot of waves. Although we did see what you were talking about with the Heron Robe, nerfing Rydia's power with Leviathan doing 200 damage.
Yep, that's a little lower than what we're used to. That's an item.
What about a Twin Harp? Our first key item, notably.
Twin Harp, that's interesting. Hey, remind me, who rolled this? Who's our restreamer today? Who? Some person who does a lot of free enterprise stuff? And now interesting. I'll look it up later. But anywho, speaking of hair robe buffering, we are certainly going ahead and seeing it with that Bahamut taking quite a bit of nerfing from the I think only about 300 or 400 damage on those Mad Ogres. But those mute arrows with a Heron Robe are going to town. So really nice adjustment mid battle to go ahead and use the Heron, to use the Hourglass. Didn't panic at all. Found a solution. Really nice. It's a couple times now we've seen Peasants make adjustments on the fly, decisively and clearly and quickly. And it's really, really solid running.
Yeah, Boney also taking off their Heron Robe for Baron in on the other screen, I think, to unnerf those summons to get through this quickly.
Which means that it's probably going to be pretty close to a one-shot. The agility, we might see Octoman slap a little more quickly, and if it does slap Rydia with the first shot, that might be something to go ahead and adjust with. But we're certainly going to more than likely see a lot of damage going through. Going with Leviathan instead of Blarg. I don't know if he's going for the quicker cast time or what. Bahamut almost certainly would have one-shot here, but he'll be fine. Meanwhile, Peasants did find Magma Key. Peasants has underground access through the Mad Ogre chest. Is notably not using the Hourglass here, so we're going to try to get through the Staleman and Skull trap chest without any issues. We have a Bahamut that gets off. Rydia was not killed. Those Stalemen are scary. Those are some of the worst enemies to come across in the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would say interesting, perhaps bold choice to try and save your Hourglass on this fight specifically, and not the Lamia Black Cat chest, which is a little bit less punchy. But you got through, so...
We did. There is Berserk, there is Exit. We haven't even talked about that. That's a nice little weapon for Kane there.
Yeah, we're getting all the free Kane weapons.
They are. I found that on this flag set, items that do what under the very broad spectrum I'll call elemental damage are enormous. Those mute arrows that attack against mages, you saw the impact they had. There are some very nasty dragon bosses, and now you have a Power Shirt, Dragoon Spear, Cane that can go ahead and do work. Fire, Ice, and Lightning have great impact and benefit. As we see, just a Samurai Helmet from Rydia's mom. Not exactly the birthday gift Rydia was looking for. Yikes. Although, when, that's what you get for literally taking a bow to your own mom. Like, I don't know what you're really expecting there. Anyway, every time you find an item that can go ahead and do extra damage there, it's incredibly useful.
Yeah, very, very important things. And knowing what things are weak to what things is also a very good piece of knowledge to have for this flag set.
What? This is a perfectly coded game, Sorbs. Like, you see Bahamut, it's obviously a dragon. And then when you see CPU, they're floating, so don't cast Quake. Come on, man.
Well,
no?
John, I don't know how to tell you this, but Bahamut is in fact not a dragon. CPU's somehow not a machine.
Okay, all right. So, but I can still Quake Mylon Z, right? And he's literally an Earth fiend sitting.
Actually,
on the
he's
ground.
a bird.
He's a bird.
Yeah, he's a bird.
Ugh, that's right. Oh, Zeno reminding us in chat that CPU at least is a machine, so I can go ahead and use lightning things, and that will go ahead and create it. Thank you, Zeno. Appreciate that. Awesome.
Yeah, not so much.
Not so much. Okay, so say
But-
he's a bird, JMac. Is this a meme that I missed?
No, I
No?
don't think so.
Or are we creating one literally right now? Are we creators?
I mean, everything's a bird, really. At least all the jerks are.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Notably, though, there is an enemy in the sealed cave called Screamers, which are giant machines.
Those are machines?
Yep, and giants.
Huh. I had no idea.
And they're ghosts.
Obviously. Or in Lower Babel, the Blade Men are like undead somehow, right?
They're spirits.
They're spirits, of course.
So they're like the souls on Ordeals, where they don't take damage from healing, but they do have the undead weakness.
Right. And remember, folks.
And not mages.
Remember, folks. No bugs, only features. Okay, so peasants with pan in hand, which is required-ish, is going to be heading underground. So we're going to get a first look at some bosses down there. We're going to be taking a first look at. Looks like we're going right for that pan bonk. So it is worth noting that with K7 being off, the pan bonk will not go ahead and result in any kind of key item, but that doesn't mean you can't get some goodies. Whether it's a Moonveil, a White Shirt, Avenger, Excal, Crystal Sword, etc., etc., etc. So this will not be any kind of progression whatsoever, but this will go ahead and lead to Sheila 1 and Sheila 2, which do in fact have some kind of progression. So we'll see what we get from the pan bonk, and then we'll see if Peasants decides to go ahead and go right back to the overworld, or if he will continue to do some checks down here.
What free cane weapon are we going to get from the Sylphs? Ooh, free tiara. All right.
That's not
I'm here for that.
It's not the most expensive, but that is an extremely useful piece of gear for Viridia. It's a nice wisdom boost, helps to offset some of the penalty of the Heroine robe, and it's excellent defense.
Yeah, it also gives resistance to lightning and dragons.
Ooh. Dragons like behind. No, never mind. So, so it looks like Peasants is heading right to the Fey March. On this flag set, 2 of our 8 objectives, we have to complete 6. A static objective is that we always have the King and Queen here. So we're going to get some information. Also, we have now located where the warrior chest is, so we can expect Peasants to go ahead and heal up, and more than likely go ahead and use one of those hourglasses that he saved. And we have another key item check here. There's a little bit more money. There's another shop. There's the Fey March freebie. We'll have some information about the bosses. This is a solid move from Peasants here.
Yeah, I like to try to pick up this chest on my way down and grab the 3B. You don't want to miss out on potentially an objective from this. And if you have your hourglass, even if you don't, it's a pretty free chest. All the warriors except for the very front one are in the back row, so they don't have a ton of accuracy and don't punch super hard. Although hard enough against poor him there.
Yeah, I found that with this particular chest, getting swoon procs has been a little more generous than maybe some other ones, as Boney gets his underground access, so he'll be probably not too far behind. Also worth noting that if Boney decides to go ahead and well, he doesn't have the pan. I was gonna say if he since he already got through Fabul, when you come back to the overworld and everyone's at like 1, oh, hello darkness, my old friend. Peasants is very, very happy to go ahead and see that. When you come back to the overworld with all of your HP very, very, very low, if there's ever a time that you're going to do Twin Harp, that's kind of it, because you can kill the party pretty quick.
Yeah, I'm not sure we're going to see anybody go to Twin Harp in this particular seed, given how we found our key items.
Yeah.
But who knows? It's going to depend a lot on what that Panbok turns into.
Yeah, and that's go mode.
That is go mode. So
that was quick. 27. Sorbs, do you get seeds like this? I don't get seeds like this. Go mode.
Never when I'm racing. No, I've gotten some in practice though.
I mean, it's a combination of oh good and oh no, right? Like, okay, let's go ahead and beat the game. E, no XP is on. For those of you all that have watched other more traditional races, pop some sirens or do a D machine grind or what have you, and you're good to go. Let's see what the boss is here. Blue robe would be spicy. That Magus Sisters is gross.
That Magus Sisters is gross. Those dolls are completely free though.
Correct. And I think Peasants is going to come back. So you have go mode. Maybe you go above ground to see who the 5th character is. Maybe hoping it's an edge or maybe the guy. And looks like that's exactly where. Oh no, I lied. Looks like we're going to be checking Sheila 1 and 2. We are nowhere near 10 key items. So getting any kind of boost with taking moon bosses or other traps or what have you is not really on the table. This is it's oh good, we're good to go, and then it's oh no, how on earth am I going to get through these fights?
Yeah, it's going to be, depending on the bosses, potentially a little rough. We have some good defensive gear, although we haven't found glass hats. The Squishy Mages might be in for some beatings, but half a forge.
Half a forge. I mean, a good spot to pick up a little XP might be maybe doing hair dryers when you're on the moon, and then maybe you pick up the other half a forge, and then you're good to go.
You don't have to do those stinky Mega Sisters. Yeah, I'm here for that.
Their chat is correctly pointing out that one blog will take out 2 or maybe 3 of them. Agility wise, that spot is very, very fast. The Asura spot is one of the fastest spots that we have in the game. And on top of that, Rydia can't get any faster than BS5. As the anchor, it's always going to take 5 ticks. So if you could get it so that Rydia is RA1 and get the block off pretty quick, that's one thing. It might be a little bit harder to go ahead and either you need some lucky RNG or you have to really go ahead and kind of play it correctly.
Just get ready to 69 agility, so she's at parity with the spot there, and then she can blarg before they really take too many turns.
I mean,
that's
that is
easy, right?
a nice strat and one that exists. It might not be the most viable, but I don't know. It could be. We have seen the Avenger. I think that's something that our runners are going to want to pick up to go ahead and clog the queue. And then if you can Avenger glitch with a Rune Axe for that particular fight, I think that makes a huge difference. So getting go mode this early it requires our runners to really use their utility. We made a lot of jokes earlier that were hilarious, good for us, about how silly this game can be sometimes with the way that it's coded. But the reality is that having all of that information about this game requires our runners to go ahead and utilize that information and execute accordingly. We've seen Peasants go ahead and make a couple of adjustments on the fly, really showing off the utility. Boney's about to get his Darkness Crystal, and he'll be in go mode in a couple of minutes when he gets up there to the Tower Key. So our runners have decisions to make. Here we see Peasants doing the trope of do your objectives, because not only is Tower Key an objective, and it's definitely doable with this party, but maybe you're going to go ahead and get half a forge. Maybe you're going to go ahead and get the Luke Key. This is an excellent play, Peasants. Another option would be, if you want to try to get towards 10 key items, maybe take the traps along the way. But unfortunately with this party, he doesn't really have a way to one-shot them.
And short of blarging them, yeah. But that seems a little excessive for killing eyeballs.
Excessive, glorious, these are words.
Notably, the 2 of them did start with a Protect Ring, which provides protection from all the elemental types. So if you get that Rune Axe and that Protect Ring and then Avenger glitch it on Kane, he might be able to go through the Mega Sisters pretty safely. The rest of your party might not quite make it, but that would be a way to get to that fight if our runners remember that they have that item.
That's a solid point. Yeah, Protect Rings are definitely items that I have grown to appreciate. Speaking of excessive blocking, was it 400 hit points here? And
Something like that.
And we just got through, but and it's gone. Iridia, when not, with a Dragon Whip or a Heroin or Rover Whip or what have you, is quite slow. So normally you want to go ahead and slow anchor a spot like the Asura spot, and Kane by nature is pretty quick. So that's definitely an option. So it'll be interesting to see if we find a Rune Axe at one of the shops here.
Apparently, chat pointing out, Peasants sold his Protect Ring. So that was the choice that was made.
I've had seeds where I'm sitting on a Crystal Sword. This is Sync 7. I've seen 5 of my characters, as Boney finds out his fun. And, and I have like a Kane, and there's an Avenger. It's like, well, I have Kane, I don't have Cecil. Let's go ahead and sell the Crystal Sword and buy the Avenger. And then I'll do like Dwarf and get Cecil. Like, oh, sometimes you, it goes back to what we were saying earlier. Sometimes you realize just how much money you want to go ahead and have. Boney is tenting up here, which means tells me he's going to at least try. He'd probably do the dolls first, get some XP. They are gonna slap though. His HP levels are pretty low. We'll see what happens. This is gonna be quite interesting. Peasant's completing his Super Cannon objective. That's his second one that is done. And what do we get?
Aaron King. Well, we won't be doing anything with that.
Well, unless we're looking at the shop. If we can't find a Rune Axe or, honestly, with this situation, the glass hats we were talking about are huge. They are tremendous defense, and if you're trying to take a underleveled party and trying to kind of, I would even say, basically like cheese it, honestly. As Boney does get the Bahamut off, very nicely done for him. Look at the HP totals on Boney's side, and you have the power to. All right, so we got some run buffer.
Hopefully that attack's skewed. Well, it attacks skewed by the dolls, it looks like, so we should be fine.
Yeah. And this quick should go ahead and do it. Very nicely done by Boney. Again, these runners not panicking, not stressing, not anything. They're just looking at the situation and handling it very, very, very well. Really nicely done by Boney. And finding a Drain Spear, which with a Kane hero would be great, because you can manipulate agility, or if we have that edge, that's a solid dart. But probably not the item they were looking for from this particular fight.
Yeah, not the free Kane weapon we were hoping for. It does sell for 6,000, notably, if we find something we want to buy and we're a little short.
There you go, like a fifth of a Protect Ring.
Approximately, yes.
All right, so we saw that Blarg on Boney's side do about 3,500. It's unclear whether or not the Heron Robe was on for that. For this fight, I would probably take it off. This Maga Sisters fight, the punch is not horrendous, but the magic power on this side is also quite high. So when we see a reflected fire too, or a virus or what have you, it's almost guaranteed to one shot. Aerith let me know in chat that the Heron Robe is on Boney, which is an excellent choice. We do have mute arrows, I think. There's a Heron Robe doing work, and we're gonna hope that Rydia does not get smacked here. And yep, but that Palin goes down. So, good decision to go ahead and get Palin back up here, so we just have targets that aren't Rydia to go ahead and get hit with. But we are very quickly seeing just how fast that agility is.
Oof, that punch almost taking out Rydia.
Yep.
And Litsu taking out Kane.
Yep.
So Palin must have that Protect Ring on, because he only took 900 from the Fire 2. And this is what we were talking about with how fast the spot is.
Mm-hmm.
Can't get a turn in edgewise there.
Right, edgewise. and you can't, you know, she's RA5. You know, you can't really get her any faster. Boney doing what I don't do, realizing the reality of the situation and bailing to find something else, because again, it is required 6. You know, there are other objectives to go ahead and be had. Some runners like myself would just bang their head against the wall over and over again and stubbornly just try to go ahead and, you know, and get through it. You know, Dwarf is on the table. Warp Glitch is on. Rydia has Warp. That's 2 chances at maybe finding, you know, the Luca Key or what we know is the other half of Forge. You know, it doesn't have to be that particular fight. So, you know, why not leave and go ahead and do something else?
Yeah, I think if I was in their spot, I would go buy that Avenger, because I would have noted it down if I was in this race. And I would probably go play on the moon, see what's that cave value and if it's doable. Check the Masa altar and see if it's doable. Come back for this Maga Sisters with a pile of levels.
Yeah, that makes total sense to me. Boney is going to go ahead and do his pan turn in. That will be his second objective. But, of course, he's going to go ahead and do Tower Key first. So he is remembering to go ahead and heal up, putting the TR on. As I continue to forget when I race, the equipment works much better when you actually put it on. So that's the thing.
I've never wandered around for 20 minutes with glass hats in my inventory that I should have put on. Nope, not me. Never done that.
Oh, good. See, yeah, I feel a little bit worse about myself now, but there it is. So, Peasants, those are the blog numbers that we're used to going ahead and seeing. With Mindy being taken out, the spells won't go off until she is revived there. A very strategic blink on Rydia pays off because the attack went onto her being blinked, and so no one got hit. And here we see Peasants waiting on that Quake, waiting for Mindy to come back, because you're going to see this Bahamut only hitting the back 2, and I think this is actually going to take out the back 2. I think Peasants is just about through here. But
yeah, very heads up from Peasants there.
Yeah. Again, how can you not love these runners? Not heads up is Ice 2 and yourself for 1700 HP, but that sounds like a Mindy problem more than anything else.
Oh, we have Boney checking the updog chest. Let's see what that pays out with.
So again, we mentioned that we didn't have a
oh, never mind. That was the eyeball summoning of Flame God.
Well, you know, Mindy not quite really realizing who has what. And this Bahamut should be probably more than enough to go ahead and take out this tiny little bugger over here. And so that's 4 very quick objectives for Peasants. That's, you know, we're off to the moon. And while there are some moon bosses that can certainly cause problems, we are seeing the real power of that Bahamut. Because these are not levels and HP numbers that you'd ever want to really thanks game. That you'd really ever want to go ahead and take these bosses on, but through great utility, through great gameplay, through agility manipulation, and utilizing the strengths of his party, he's done with the Fey March. He's got 40 objectives in 40 minutes.
Yeah, never underestimate the power of Blarg. So we were talking about at the very beginning of this. Rydia is an extremely powerful character in this flag set. Having basically guaranteed access to her best summon just makes her extremely powerful, and she has some unique pieces of gear that are very strong, like the Tiara.
Sure. So, Boney, I believe the first 2, there are 4 traps here in Lower Babel, and I believe that the first 2 were Zongs. Hey, look at Kane being able to go ahead and one-shot. Attaboy, bud. So we have a white shirt, great defense for Porum, but certainly not the progression that maybe he was hoping for.
No, you could still put it on Rydia at this point too, because she is not grown up in Dwarf Castle.
Oh, that's very true as well.
Which would help keep Rydia very safe for blarging the moon. So maybe not the worst option.
Absolutely not. Especially if you're not going with Herald Robe for defense and you're trying to go ahead and flank her. And hello, Luca Key.
That is an objective. That means Boney doesn't need to do those Mega Sisters.
Correct. And now should we find a gauntlet, especially now at the Massa altar, that Peasants might not want to take, now we know that Boney has an option on the table that is not available to Peasants. So that's very interesting. I wonder if Boney, if he didn't find any kind of progression or anything like that at all, if he was leaning toward doing the top of tower. And now that he has found that and knows that he's going to be getting a key item when he leaves here because he did Super Cannon, if he's just going to go ahead and bail. That's something I might want to ask him when we get to our interviews.
Yeah, I think if you're in the mindset that you are going to do checks here in hopes of fading the Mega Sisters, you would go until you find an objective. And I think since we did, we're not going to do top of tower, but we'll see. It's also a decent chunk of experience.
That's very true as well. So Boney gets the second objective.
Boney opting to leave. Ooh, that's a interesting game value, boss.
There are certain bosses that are just awful here. Evil Wall is terrible here. On this flag set, Water Hag is terrible here. And Baigan is awful here. Now again, Blarg, you take out the arms and you buy yourself some time. Or even if you have a super, super powerful Quake. And the battle speed must be dropped down because we're getting these turns off here. That blink getting off is huge, but you're it's 2100 on a small child. If this Blarg gets off, then you've bought yourself some time, and you're in good shape. But again, look at the execution from Peasants. Getting the blink off right away. Now getting the blink on to Porum, so that if Porum gets targeted again, she won't get slapped down. Blarg gets off, the arms go down. We bought ourselves some time to go ahead and recover. We can go ahead and get Hallam back up for more targets. Just dropping down the battle speed so that you have time to go ahead and get all these inputs in. Just really excellent gameplay all the way through here.
Script Ridia.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
This spot, compared to the Fey March, is at least quite a bit slower. So having that, I think, Heroine Robe on Porum, or maybe Yardy Bow, so she's going fast enough to keep up with these blinks for the most part. It's going to make this a bit easier than getting through the Mega Sisters. But Baigan's still one-shotting anyone he decides to reach out and touch.
Yeah. And it's worth noting that the vampires that the arms can do, the one on the left can do, will not... the blink doesn't work for that, but the magic here is quite low.
It's high enough for that.
It is, in fact, high enough for that. This is when you take on bosses this early, this is what you're going to run into. And it's a matter of, can we go ahead and make adjustments? This is something that this flag set provides that we don't normally get to see. Normally, before we get to a moon boss like this, as we see Boney is going to go ahead and dip into Dwarf, at least for shopping, and possibly for 2 bosses here, and yet we were set out. Normally, if you have an anchor, there's an article for sale. If you have an anchor, you're going to go ahead and just, kill your anchor, and then you're nice and slow, and you have your ways to get through. C hero, low levels, we have to go ahead and find ways to go ahead and get through these bosses. You have to really find good utility. And it makes for more interesting boss fights later on in the game, and we're seeing it right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Interestingly, if this Masa Altar is also a fight that Peasants bounces off of, this might go back into Boney's favor, since he gets to skip a boss.
Well, there's a decision to make.
Oof, that is bad news, because we have not done our deals.
Yeah. Honestly, it's a body. It's a body, and it's a chemist. I don't... At this point, I'm in go mode. I have Last Arm available to me. I have Hair Dryers available to me. I have Tower available to me. I have Dwarf available to me. I haven't found an Excal. I haven't found a Crystal Sword. We have found Avengers. I don't think I get the time back by doing all of Ordeals to then get a base level Cecil. I think this is just... If Baigan's going to slap some people, the Dark Knight still hasn't repented for his sins, so go ahead and hit him. He's okay with it, honest. Just go ahead and hit him and not my Blargcaster. It's rare to ever look at a Cecil like, hey, here's a body, here's a decoy. But at this point, with this particular situation, I think that's exactly what he is right now.
Yeah, I think it's potentially going to depend on who this bottom moon spot is. Cover strats are extremely powerful. So if this is a boss that is just going to punch him to pieces, it might be worth going to Ordeals, getting the Cecil, and slingshotting him off of the hairdryer's chest real quick.
That's an excellent point.
Throwing whatever defensive gear you have on him, and hoping for the best.
Yeah. It also comes down to what kind of note taking have our runners been doing with what's in the shops. Nakuri, member of the community, came up with a shop tracker that a lot of us are using. If we found crystal armor for 65,000, did anyone mark it? Do we know where it is? Did we find it? Glass hats or even that white shirt. Cecil can go ahead and wear that. Cover strats are incredibly powerful, there's no question, especially in this spot like the Fey March. Not so much with Magus Sisters because of the spells, but you can go ahead and really manipulate everyone's HP when you're in there and just only heal up Cecil. So it's a solid point. But we're about to get a couple boss checks
Come
here.
on, Gauntlet. Either one, either Gauntlet.
No delay, not Gauntlet. Oh, this is disgusting too.
The way our party does damage, the way Peasant's party does damage, this isn't too bad. You're not going to be eating Fire 2 counters.
True.
Kane is just going to hang out. We're going to jump. Okay, that's fine too.
And one of the few bosses that actually still is free for Boney is King Queen. So Boney's well on his way to his second objective. And again, the utilities runners. Speaking of fast spots, Rip Cecil. Speaking of being a body. Oh, Quad 9. So close. He almost made it. Even with a free boss like this, being heads up enough to go ahead and cast slow just to get more turns in. Again, even just optimizing even a free boss is such a really heads up motion. So, but to your point, we don't have any direct attacks because the direct attack that results in a Fire 2 counter with at this spot with these HP levels would be catastrophic. But we are avoiding these things. But there we see a back row, probably Protect Ring Palom getting punched for 1,300. I mean, this spot is rude.
Well, notably, Peasant sold this Protect Ring, but yes.
Oh, okay. Well, regardless. But Boney is through. We'll see if Boney remembers that he can go ahead and warp out as he's done with his fourth objective. Peasants is on his way to his fifth. It's about 32,000 at this spot HP.
That sounds right. I think it's a little bit less than Leviathan, which is 38.
Right.
It's more than you want.
It's not what you want. And Glare, let's see if she survives this. Quad 9, so close. So, again,
I believe a little bit of Palom has his. Oh, never mind. That's Boney's Palom has the Protector.
Yeah. Speaking of Boney is walking out. Oh, and we are now remembering that we have warp, and that will save some time. So, Boney probably heading to the moon, right? And they'll get the news about the Baigan. It'll be interesting to see if Boney checks the LST for the character before going to Baigan. Just having that decoy might be enough to go ahead and get through.
No, it looks like Boney's going to take another swing at the Mega Sisters first, because if he can get through this, he just has to do K Value or Masa, and he's done.
This is getting very, very interesting very, very quickly. Judge Joe bringing up a good point in chat that, to get a little more utility out of Palom, you can go ahead and bluff. Bluff gives you a plus 15 wisdom boost even through death. So if Palom gets slapped down or glared, the boost stays there. That is that's a rough double smack right there. And
this Bahamut should get peasants through though. Oh, not quite. And the spot's got more than you'd want.
Yeah. If you can time the Ice 2s while the cape is open, you can do quite a bit of extra damage than you would with a Quake. But the problem is you have to go ahead and time it correctly, and because as we all know, if the cave is closed, then it'll end up being an absorption of hit points instead of damage.
Yeah, the Palom doesn't seem to have any gear on at all. It probably would have been a good idea for Peasants to bluff a few times before throwing out these spells.
Yeah. But this is the safest strat. And again, just look at the HP totals. Look at this party. You have DKC at the Massa Altar, and we're finding a way to go ahead and get through it. Honestly, that Ether 2 that they got from the Asura spot might actually end up being huge if we run out of HP here. This Bahamut might do it. No, we're still cooking here.
Yeah, I was watching Boney, and I assumed Palom was doing more damage than he is when I said that we were almost through. So,
Goodness. All right, so
this Bahamut though.
Yeah. Okay, all right. For real though, this one. All right. So RNG being kind to Boney there, Kane getting smacked, and then Boney getting the fire too. RNG being kind to Peasants a little bit, as Cecil once again takes the glare there and not Rydia. Decent damage coming out from, I think, a Kane jump. We have Bahamut on Boney's side, and Mindy goes down. So already a much better start.
We might have both of these runners fighting Baigan at the same time.
That would be super fun. Okay, this is the one, right? This is the one?
I think so. Yes.
Hey!
If you just call all of them, you'll hit the one, right? Like,
Yeah, that's how
yeah, just call it every time, and every time you called it, it was, yeah.
Because 60% of the time, it's going to work every time. Ooh, down goes Rydia. And there's an X-Cal for our DKC. That's cute. Thanks, game.
And you can look at that and be sad.
Yep. So Boney in a little bit of trouble. We will we'll see what happens here. We're hoping for not Rydia. That's not Rydia. So
We're kind of hoping for not Palom, though.
Yeah, and that's a reset out. I'm curious to see what Boney's battle speed is. Maybe if he were to go ahead and drop it down, this would go ahead and go through. But we are resting up, and with that extra dark meat shield decoy, Peasants might be on his way to a sub-hour victory, which is just nothing short of impressive. Anytime you finish a seed with a DKC in your party, like, you know that you've been able to go ahead and pull something pretty creative off.
Yeah, absolutely. And Boney, I think, heard you 10 minutes ago and did adjust his battle speed. He was on battle speed 1. So this
Is that
would
how time
probably
zones
go.
work?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, all right.
That's how it's been explained to me, anyway.
Okay, all right. You're smart. I trust you. Oh, that's unfortunate. That's a reset. Just reset. Just reset. Just reset. Or don't. It's me from 10 minutes and 5 hours in the past. How many times? I don't know. I gotta bite DeLorean.
I mean, time zones are really just a social construct.
This is what I'm saying. Take that, son. All right, so we're gonna take round 2 here at Spigen. We're getting a blink off right away between the Heron Robe and maybe I got through the Heron Robe is making sure that we have an RA1 Porum. Again, more really good utility. Rydia is safe. We'll definitely get at least one Blarg off, which means that the arms will go down. And there's the value already of having Cecil here, because we can go ahead and get party members up. Hallam bluffed once, which will help to improve the Quake. I don't know how Hallam just got missed in that mage because he's short. I don't know.
I think he had a blink up, maybe, that we couldn't see because of frame rate things. Or maybe not. Maybe he just got really lucky.
Or maybe he's just really short. I don't know. But here we have, we're getting people up, which is good. Boney's going to take another stab over at the Smaga Sisters. It's just such a brute fight. It's doable, but it requires a little bit of luck. Both of our runners have shown tremendous acumen with the fights that they've been in. Speaking of, there you see Peasants waiting that hot second to make sure that the Blarg is going to go ahead and take out all three, both the arms that hit all 3 targets, because if it goes off too early, then the arms don't get countered. Peasants looks like he's in very good shape right now. He's got blinks up, he has 5 targets, down goes DKC, so we can bring him back up. Peasants is rolling.
That? Losing Porum there could be a problem.
But we're going to buy some time with these arms going down, and then Kane can pick her right back up. I would say the fight's done, but it's stable-ish. Much like myself.
Yeah, I mean, we're probably through, but there's a series of unfortunate events that could happen here where Peasants takes another wipe here.
Absolutely. It exists.
It's going to involve Rydia just getting triple punched right now, but
we got lots of targets.
There's two of them. Is the third one hitting Rydia?
Find out. Nope.
No, okay. It is probably through.
On this Bahamut, for sure, right? First try?
Oh no, there's a couple more.
Maybe. Alright, so we have a single bluffed Quake going through, doing a little extra damage to the body. We're getting that blink up on Rydia. Boney looks like he's in good shape over here.
Yeah, getting through the Mega Sisters finally.
And got some a little bit of XP, and he's going to go get the lovely news about this buy-in. This is not over. Is that Rydia parrying?
I think she's out of MP.
Like I said,
They have ethers though, but this is going to give Baigan an opening to maybe knock down some people and put Peasants in a really tight spot.
For sure. The chat pointing out that a reflected wall has gone off onto Rydia, which means that Blink cannot go on there. Nice bluff Quake, though, from Palin, taking off the arms and buying a little bit of time. And I think with that Quake, this Blarg might go ahead and do it. This might be it right here, for real. All kidding aside. Peasants noticing the reflect there and reflecting onto Worm to keep the Blinkcaster alive. And even if the body in the center goes down, which I believe that it will, you have 5 targets and 2 exploding arms and they're done. Yeah. So Peasants is all but done here. A really, really, really nice race to go ahead and handle all of this. This Quake might take out the arms, and I think that's going to be it. My goodness. Just a masterclass and a clinic on how to go ahead and manage in-game decisions. So we are all but done. Just waiting for the scene, the screen to go and pop up. Boney is heading toward his very, very quickly. Wonderful race for both of our runners. But if you haven't already, please go ahead and get your GGs in chat. PeasantsOMFG with what is probably a borderline sub 1 hour seed of an official time of 59:59. Going ahead and giving a Wombat Milk the victory, which is a sentence that we don't get to say nearly enough in this world.
Or perhaps we've said it too much.
I don't want to get a certain captain of that team very mad at me. So we'll see if he'll pop it in. Oh, speaking of, there he is. Our winner of this morning / afternoon / evening's race, PeasantsOMFG. GG's, my friend.
Thank you very much. GG to Boney as well.
So that was a little jetty.
Yeah. Tell me about it. I had a couple of unfortunate moments, like with a couple of bosses, but I think that would playing a little bit better, a little bit less unlucky as well. I think that's a sub 50 seed probably, to be sure.
So what's your when you hit go mode at like 20 whatever minutes? What's your thought process at that point?
A bit fearful for levels, I guess. It's like they're like the 3 of them are free, right? With Pan, Super Cannon, and the dolls, and having like Porum is like a lifesaver against the Major Sisters. Like it makes that fight Not easy there, but doable with persistence. I got pretty lucky to be able to do it on the first try. Pretty happy with that fight, honestly. Not happy with my moon fights, but but that was a good fight.
I mean, I would disagree with not being happy with your fights. There's a few times that we pointed out, adjustments that you made on the fly. If something happened at Hobbs and you made adjustments real quick, things like dropping down your battle speed and affecting your your agility and there are several instances where you really showcase a lot of knowledge and execution to get through fights, earlier than we would normally see. If this was a more traditional seed where you go into Zeromus, you would never be up here at these levels and these HP values. But you're in Go mode, and these are your levels. This is your party, so here we go. So I think I would disagree with that respectfully. I think that you showcased a tremendous amount of savvy decision making.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you. That's really nice. My biggest thing, I think, was the first Baigan fight. I should have healed Rydia because she got vampired. I didn't even think about the vampire, and then I was like with not having the additional body in that fight was definitely doable there. But I needed to not get vampired, so that was a bit unfortunate. And then the only other thing is just Rubicante. I stayed on battle speed 6 because my levels are pretty low, and that place is never nice. But I probably should have dropped up to battle speed 3 or something, just to because you could definitely feel the the long pauses between turns. But yeah, I mean, I think it was pretty good. It was pretty challenging at certain parts, like not particularly as nice as most of these seeds usually are.
Yeah, but, you did a fight on Battle Seed 6, and you have our first sub 1 hour victory of the tournament. So
first, yeah. By once, what is it? It's by less than a second. 59, 59, 40. So by 60 milliseconds.
It counts.
It counts. Yeah, no, I'm taking it.
Storm's got anything? I've been chatting up Storm. I'm sorry, but do you have any questions for me?
Yeah. So Protect Rings. When did you lose all respect for that solid piece of defensive gear?
I was buying something better probably. No need for it. Did I need it? No. There's your answer. Who needs it?
But yeah, to your point, that was some nasty last 3 bosses. The Maga Sisters there at Ashura, definitely unkind. Baigan, NK value, and Ruby on the bottom of the moon can be real rough if you're trying to fight it to death.
It's better than Elements.
True.
But with that party, it's like because with that party with a mage, like doing just full mage strats against a Ruby there is pretty ideal, right? Like you're not going to get any of those Fire 2 counters because you're not smacking, and you got blinks and you got slows, so it's slow, but it's definitely doable as long as you have some ethers.
Yeah, for sure. What were your thoughts when you first saw the Baigan NK value?
I thought I could do it. Pretty sure I could have done it. Like I said, it was. I wasn't happy about it. I'm never happy to see that boss, and that's definitely his nastiest location. But I've fought so many Baigans in the Bahamut Cave since I've been playing. I know that fight inside and out. And this was like a Rydia seed, right? But honestly, Auron with the heroin rope was by far the most important part of that seed for those last three fights. And
yeah, being able to start immediately with a blink has definitely helped.
It's huge. I didn't have any other mage gear. I'm sure I saw some. I just didn't go back and pick it up. But a bit lackluster on the Bahams and the Quakes as well, which is a bit of a shame.
Yeah, I thought you were going to be done with a couple fights a bit earlier than you were, because I had been watching Boney and had assumed Palom was doing damage.
My Palom wasn't doing any damage. I think he had a Gaia shirt on, which great, and an archer bow. I don't think I saw any rods at all. I probably did see them. I obviously didn't pick any up, but even a change rod or, a charm would have been beautiful. But none to have.
Sometimes it'd be like that.
Yeah. Regardless, that was the jettiest seed I've done on these ones, I think. Yeah. I was hoping to get maybe like the adamant because I got the legend sword from Sheila, I think, and I was like, okay, I'll go do that DKC and talk to the D-Mist, just in case it's adamant. I didn't really care if it was Luca or not. It's like it would have been a minimal time save, if anything. But it was adamant. It would have been really sweet, but it was samurai hat as per usual.
Which is kind of like an adamant rock, right? It's basically
Yeah.
I mean, interesting you mentioned the Luca key. Boney did find it.
I did see watching the end.
Because he did. He was nipping at your heels getting into the moon. You were almost in the bargain spot fight at the same time, except for him having some bad luck with his Maga Sisters refight.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest difference right there. It's just with that Maga Sisters fight. Did you have any? It was brought up in chat that if you could get with Palom, if you don't find gear, if you have time, you can go ahead and get some bluffs up. Was there any temptation to even on battle speed 6, bluff them up a little bit and try to time an ice 2 to make the refight go a little faster?
Oh, definitely thought about it, but like when I put 2 slows down and on battle speed 6, I'm not familiar enough with the speed of when he's going to open up or not. Like I could have got a feel for it and tried it, but I was Quakes were doing 2. I should have bluffed and made them do 3k, but I mean, but I wasn't going to risk healing and wasting a turn instead of just getting 2,000 damage out. I know it's slow, and probably looking back on it, I probably would have done it. But like I said, battle speed 6, 2 slows. I had no idea what he was doing.
Yeah. All right, so at that point, what's it take? Like 1 Mississippi 2?
Yeah. Get a drink of water, come back, then the ice doing.
If I had a scene like this, I would be drinking water, but that's a me problem. Boney getting through, very nicely done. Hour 9 is a great time.
Yeah, GG's to them.
GG's to Boney. It's just Peasants, you just ran a hell of a race, my friend. And the two of you just put on just a wonderful show.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch it back because I really like watching the jet seeds and seeing the differences as well. I gotta admit, you gotta ask Boney about this as well, but like the second I think I got Tower Key and then I was on then I started the Fame Arch bosses, like my heart was pumping. Like I was genuinely quite worried. It was about to have a heart attack playing because when the jet seeds come in tournament, you get very stressed.
Yeah,
especially when you hit go mode, like you get all 3 items like in a row. It's pretty intense.
Absolutely. Well, that's all I got. Anything you got for our winter sorbs?
No, just a GG. Well played.
Thanks, guys. GG to Boney, and I think my teammate Charlie is playing pretty. I'm not in America, so I don't know the times, but I think later tonight in Eastern time. So watch him destroy. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
All right. Well, GG's again. Just a wonderful race, and best of luck to Time Zones R Us moving forward.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good one. GG.
All right, so that was Peasants OMFG, as I congratulate the wrong team. But that ding in my ear means that we are joined by Boney, who I get the pleasure of speaking with after a year of lurking on your stream. Hey, my friend.
Has it been that long? But yeah.
Time flies when I'm having fun. What can I say?
It does. But no, GG's. What a seed.
Yeah, that was a little jetty, huh?
Yeah, it just flew by. My fastest so far. It's one of those where the route to go mode, the stars were aligned, the path was set. But yeah, just very quick. Honestly, if there was a sub 1 hour in there, this was definitely one of them. So very cool to see Peasants get that.
Yeah, I as someone who has watched your stream a bunch, at the beginning of the seed, I pointed out that we might not see you on community races all that often. You have your Trackmania and other things that you do. But what I love about watching you when you run is just how much because there's so much information in this game, right? There's just so much to know. And just seeing how quickly you get right back into it and you make really good heads-up decisions. And this is a seed that required that. You're go-boated like 9 seconds in and your party's, your levels are approximately -6. And let's go ahead and take out the Magus Sisters, the Asura spot. Okay, ready, go. And just seeing both of you be able to go ahead and make adjustments on the fly with your equipment and your routing and agility and everything else. It really was a pleasure to watch you race today.
I'm glad. I'm very much curious to look back as well. I mean, around the time that I was on the Mega Sister spot, just wiping over and over due to Rydia getting hit. But by the time I got out, I was very happy because I made it through. Fortunately, RNG was in my favor at the, I don't know, third go, fourth go. And I was thinking at that point in time as well, like, well, I mean, this is a quick seed. If Peasants got me right now, he's got me. Because this is just so fast. I knew it was somewhere on the moon. I was like, maybe look around for Adamant. No, we're not doing that. But just constantly moving from spot to spot to spot to spot. A lot of fun, just really a lot of fun this seed. Just playing with fire. I was wondering if I would stick with 4 throughout the entire seed as well, hoping Bahamut would be anything good, but I don't know. I didn't feel the Baigan myself. I saw it once. I was like, no, don't have time. Let's just go Masamune. But that's around the time Peasants finished.
Well, you would make the decision. What was the thought process behind taking some of the traps over in the tower? Was it the Magus Sister fight and being like, oh, this is awful, so I'm gonna try to find something else? Or were you looking to have options on the moon, which is what you ended up using it for?
Mainly the second. So what I've been noticing throughout practice is that getting to go mode isn't the hard part. It's getting in a situation that you can actually fulfill the objectives, right? There's quite a lot of power required if you just go for King, Queen, Bahamut, Masamune. There's a lot of power required. Or clever play. And what I found is usually it's, I don't know, I prefer to gamble to have one of the other objectives that requires, well, not as much power, right? Less effort in that sense. So for me, knowing I'm going to do Super Cannon, I might as well go buy the chest, right? There could be anything in there. It could be something to help me out with agility. It could be something to help me out with forging, anything along those lines. So I just, I accept the time loss in that sense, hoping that along the way I'll find something that is just faster than me going all the way down to Lunar Subterrane.
Makes a lot of sense to me. Sorbs, what you got for our man right here?
Ooh, I was going to ask you how you're feeling about those Mega Sisters, but
Rydia is not joining their club, that's for sure. She is not interested in the slightest. Because the first time there, I was, let's just look, let's see, can I get away with it? I wasn't feeling it. I had other things to do, so we'll reserve him, take him out later. And then when I got back, I got quite close the first time around. It just, it was one hit away, and RNG is what RNG is. So they were fast. That's all I know. They were so fast, and I'm like, oh, come on, Porum, you got this. And Porum was fast as well. It just, they just kept hitting her. Just stop hitting her.
Yeah, you ran a heck of a race. There was, if you'd had a little bit better luck on those Mega Sisters, I think you and Peasants would have been fighting Baigan at the same time. That's, how close that could have been, except for those, sort of unfortunate Mega Sister events. But yeah, GG's, well played.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it just, I know he did not get Luca. So I was very happy when I saw King Queen Eblan. I'm like, I'm going in here, level 20 something. Can I take this fight? Yeah, I'm fast, so I'm sure I have some utility. And I saw King Queen, and I was just so relieved. I felt like at that point, yeah, if there was anything lost along the line, that was a good way to recuperate. But yeah, it was I don't know. Definitely my most exciting match so far. Just because of the speed, just because of how quick everything was going. And I knew Peasants was going to do great, so I just added to the pressure.
Well, it was I know we came a little bit short today, but just an absolute privilege to go ahead and watch you both. Do you have any last thoughts about the seed of the tourney, or anything to close off with?
No. GG's, Boney.
Thank you, GG's. Thank you for hosting us.
Well, thank you for putting on just a wonderful show this morning / afternoon / evening / night.
It's all time zones around here. That's what we do.
Looking forward to seeing you in the rest of the tournament, man. GG's again.
Thank you, GG's. Have a good one.
That was fun, Source. That was that was an exciting one.
Yeah, sorry I got distracted there for a second. I was looking ahead at our other restreams today, and I was getting pretty hyped for that.
Well, yeah, we do have some hype. So it looks like at 4 o'clock, we have part 2 of the Wombat Milk, can't say that enough, and Time Zones Are Us battle with Reckless Charlie and Alchemy. We have a double header, dual streamed with Commander Leonhardt from the Balam Cricket Club, I'm saying that, versus Fiery Blizzard from Coco Quartet, and Ikir and Funnel Cakes going head to head on RPG Limit Break. Oh boy, 10 o'clock. Judge Joe versus Blurry. That's going to be.
Yeah, that is just 3 extremely hype restreams. I highly recommend everyone tune in for all 3 of them if you can, or at least plan on watching them back, because they're all going to be absolutely incredible races.
I absolutely love tournament season. It is just, when we have a whole day of matches like this, like how can you not be excited?